There are moments when 5 words can shatter everything you thought you knew about your life. And there are Instagram posts that can reveal betrayals you never saw coming. For me, both arrived within minutes of each other on a Tuesday afternoon when my best friend, Jenna, said, "He was never yours anyway," and then posted a picture of herself at the beach with my boyfriend of 3 years. My name is Sarah, and until that Tuesday, I thought I had my life figured out. I was 26, living in downtown Chicago, working as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup, and completely in love with my boyfriend, Mark. We'd been together since college, lived together for 2 years, and I'd spent the last 6 months dropping hints about engagement rings while planning what I thought would be our future together. Jenna had been my best friend since freshman year of college. She was the maid of honor at my sister's wedding, the person I called when I got promoted, the friend who held my hair back during food poisoning and celebrated every small victory in my life. She knew every detail about my relationship with Mark, every fight, every romantic gesture, every insecurity I had about our future. That Tuesday, I'd taken a half day from work to surprise Mark at his apartment with lunch from his favorite restaurant. We'd been going through a rough patch lately, and I thought a spontaneous gesture might help us reconnect. But when I got to his building, his roommate told me Mark had left that morning for a work conference in Miami. A work conference I'd never heard about, on a Tuesday, for a job that never required travel. As I sat in my car, confused and slightly hurt that he hadn't mentioned the trip, my phone buzzed with a text from Jenna. "We need to talk. Come over now." I had no idea that conversation would end with discovering that my best friend and my boyfriend had been living a lie that would destroy everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and trust. Jenna's apartment felt different when I walked in that afternoon. The same cozy space where we'd spent countless nights watching movies, planning our futures, and sharing our deepest secrets, suddenly felt cold and unwelcoming. She was pacing around her living room, her phone clutched in her hand, and she couldn't seem to look me in the eye. "Sarah, sit down," she said, gesturing to the couch where we'd had so many heart-to-heart conversations. "I have something I need to tell you." I sat down, still confused about Mark's mysterious Miami trip. "Is everything okay? You sounded weird on the phone." "It's about Mark," she said, finally stopping her pacing but still avoiding eye contact. "What about Mark? Do you know something about this work conference? Because I've never heard him mention anything about traveling for work, and—" "There's no work conference, Sarah." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What do you mean there's no work conference?" Jenna finally looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes that I'd never seen before. Guilt mixed with something that looked almost like relief. "Mark isn't in Miami for work. He's there with someone else." My heart started pounding. "Someone else? What are you talking about? Who told you that?" "Sarah, I need you to stay calm, okay? This is going to be really hard to hear." "Jenna, you're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on." She sat down across from me, her hands shaking as she set her phone on the coffee table. "Mark has been seeing someone else for the past 4 months. Someone from his gym. They've been planning this Miami trip for weeks." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "That's impossible. Mark wouldn't. We live together. We're planning our future together. He wouldn't cheat on me." "Sarah, how do you even know this? Did he tell you? Why would he tell you and not me?" That's when I saw it, the flash of something across her face that looked like panic. "He didn't exactly tell me," she said quietly. "Then how do you know?" "Because—" She took a deep breath. "Because I've been following them." The room started spinning. "You've been following them? Jenna, what the hell is going on?" "I found out about her a few weeks ago, and I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. I've been watching them, taking pictures, gathering evidence because I knew you wouldn't believe me without proof." But there was something in her voice, something that didn't quite ring true. "Show me," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "If you have proof, show me." Jenna hesitated, then picked up her phone. "Sarah,
I need you to promise me you won't do anything crazy when you see these. Just show me, Jenna. She scrolled through her photos and handed me the phone. The first picture showed Mark at what looked like a restaurant, sitting across from a blonde woman I didn't recognize. They were laughing, and his hand was reaching across the table toward hers. My stomach dropped. When was this taken? 2 weeks ago, Thursday night. You said you were working late on that Johnson campaign, remember? I did remember. I'd texted Mark that I'd be at the office until almost midnight. He'd said he was going to bed early. She swiped to the next photo. Mark and the same woman walking out of a movie theater, her arm linked through his. Then another one of them at a coffee shop, sitting closer than friends would sit. Who is she? I asked, my voice cracking. Her name is Amanda. She works at that CrossFit gym downtown where Mark started going 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Right around the time Mark had suddenly become obsessed with fitness and started spending 2 hours at the gym every day after work. There's more, Jenna said softly, taking the phone back. But Sarah, I need you to understand that I've been trying to protect you. I've been trying to figure out the right way to tell you. Protect me? You've known for weeks and you didn't tell me? I wanted to be sure. I wanted to have enough evidence so you couldn't deny it or make excuses for him. Something about the way she said that bothered me. Evidence? Jenna, you sound like a private investigator, not my best friend. How did you even know to follow them in the first place? She looked uncomfortable again. I saw them together by accident at Starbucks near my office. I couldn't believe it, so I started paying attention. You just happened to see them? Yes, Sarah, it was a coincidence. But the more I looked at the photos, the more something felt off. These weren't the kind of pictures you take accidentally or from a distance. These were clear, well-composed shots taken from relatively close range. And in some of them, Mark and Amanda were looking directly at the camera, not with surprise or anger, like people who'd been caught, but almost like they were posing. Jenna, I said slowly, these photos, how exactly did you take them without Mark noticing you? I was careful. I stayed hidden. In some of these, he's looking right at the camera. He was looking past me at something else. But that wasn't what it looked like. It looked like he was looking directly at whoever was taking the picture. It looked like he knew exactly who was behind the camera. Jenna, I said, setting her phone down on the coffee table, I need you to tell me the truth. All of it. What do you mean? I am telling you the truth. No, you're not. These photos, there's something you're not telling me. Mark isn't just looking past you in these pictures, he's looking at you. He knows you're there. Jenna's face went pale. Sarah, you're upset. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. I stood up, starting to pace the way she had been when I arrived. You said you accidentally saw them at Starbucks and then started following them. But these photos are taken over multiple weeks, at different locations, at different times of day. That's not casual observation, Jenna. That's stalking. I was protecting you. From what? And don't say from Mark cheating, because there's something else going on here. I stopped pacing and looked directly at her. How long have you known Amanda? I don't know her. I told you, she's some girl from his gym. But you know her name, you know where she works, you know their schedule well enough to photograph them at restaurants, movie theaters, coffee shops. How do you know all of that? Jenna was fidgeting with her hands now, a nervous habit I'd seen 1,000 times, but never in the context of her lying to me. Jenna, I've been your best friend for 8 years. I know when you're lying. So I'm going to ask you one more time. What is your relationship with Amanda? There is no relationship. And what is your relationship with Mark? The question hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. What kind of question is that? You know what my relationship with Mark is. He's your boyfriend. I barely tolerate him. You barely tolerate him? Jenna, you've hung out with Mark and me hundreds of times. You've never acted like you barely tolerate him. In fact, You've always been weirdly interested in our relationship. You ask more questions about Mark than most people ask about their own boyfriends. That's because I care about you. Or because you care about him. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched as every muscle in Jenna's face seemed to collapse, and for the first time since I'd known her, she looked genuinely defeated. Sarah, tell me the truth, Jenna. Right now, what is really going on?
Jenna buried her face in her hands and started crying. Not the gentle, sympathetic tears of a friend delivering bad news, but the deep, gut-wrenching sobs of someone whose world was about to explode. "I never meant for it to happen," she whispered through her tears. My heart stopped. "For what to happen, Jenna? Mark and I, we've been seeing each other for 6 months." The words hit me like a physical assault. I actually stepped backward, feeling like I might fall over. "What?" "Sarah, please let me explain." 6 months? My voice was getting louder. "You've been sleeping with my boyfriend for 6 months? It wasn't supposed to happen. It started when you were working those crazy hours on the Peterson account. Mark was lonely, and he started texting me, asking about you, and then we started talking, and oh my God, the Peterson account? That was in March. You've been lying to me since March? Sarah, please. All those times you asked me about our relationship, all those times you wanted details about our fights, our problems, whether I thought he was happy, you were gathering intelligence. No, I was trying to help you. Help me by sleeping with my boyfriend?" Jenna stood up, her face streaked with tears. "You don't understand. Mark wasn't happy, Sarah. He told me he felt trapped. He said you were pressuring him about marriage, about the future, and he didn't know how to tell you he wasn't ready. So your solution was to fuck him? It wasn't like that. We connected. We understood each other. And Sarah, honestly, he was never really yours anyway." There it was. The phrase that would haunt me forever. He was never mine anyway. Jenna, we lived together. We were planning a future together. A future he didn't want. He told me he felt obligated to stay with you because you'd been together so long, but he wasn't in love with you anymore. Each word felt like a knife. And you believed him? Or did you just want to believe him? Sarah, I know this is hard to hear, but Mark and I, we're in love. Real love. Not the comfortable, convenient love you two had. Comfortable and convenient? I was screaming now. I was planning to marry him. He was never going to marry you, Sarah. He told me months ago. He said he didn't know how to break up with you without hurting you, so he just kept putting it off. And then you came along to help him figure it out? We fell in love, Sarah. Neither of us planned it, but it happened. And yes, we're in Miami together right now. We're talking about moving in together. The room was spinning. My best friend and my boyfriend had been carrying on an affair for 6 months, and now they were planning a life together. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. I couldn't breathe in that apartment anymore. The air felt poisoned by her words, by the casual way she'd destroyed my entire life while making it sound like she was doing me a favor. "Sarah, wait," Jenna called after me. "Please don't leave like this. We need to talk about this properly." I turned around at her doorway. "Talk about what, Jenna? About how you've been lying to my face for 6 months? About how you've been pretending to care about my relationship while you were destroying it from the inside? I do care about you. You're my best friend. Best friends don't sleep with each other's boyfriends. Sarah, you have to understand. I don't have to understand anything. I never want to see you again." I slammed her door and ran to my car. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. I sat there for several minutes, crying and trying to process what had just happened. 6 months. While I was working late nights, planning our future, dropping hints about engagement rings, Mark was texting my best friend. While I was celebrating my promotion with Jenna, she was probably thinking about her next date with my boyfriend.
I was about to drive home when my phone buzzed with an Instagram notification. Without thinking, I opened it. It was a post from Jenna, uploaded just minutes ago. The photo showed her and Mark on a beautiful beach, the Miami skyline visible in the background. She was wearing a bikini I'd helped her pick out last month for her solo vacation. Mark had his arm around her waist, and they were both smiling at the camera with the kind of happiness that looked genuine and effortless. The caption read, "Sometimes the best things happen when you're not looking for them. Heart. Hashtag Miami vibes, hashtag new beginnings, hashtag soulmate." She had posted it while I was still sitting in her driveway, while the tears from confessing her betrayal were probably still wet on her cheeks. She was announcing their relationship to the world. My phone started buzzing with notifications, comments, likes, tags from mutual friends asking if this was what it looked like. People who knew about Mark and me wondering what the hell was going on. I screenshotted the post and then did something I never thought I'd do. I started typing a comment that would let everyone know exactly what kind of person Jenna really was. But then I stopped. She wasn't worth it. Neither of them were worth it. Instead, I blocked them both and drove home to figure out how to rebuild my life.
6 months later, I'm writing this from my new apartment across town, a bright, airy place that's completely mine, with no memories of Mark scattered throughout the rooms. The healing process wasn't linear or easy, but it taught me things about myself that I never would have learned otherwise. The first few weeks were brutal. I had to tell everyone, my family, my coworkers, our mutual friends, what had happened. Most people were shocked and supportive. A few, unfortunately, had suspected something was going on, but hadn't known how to tell me. My sister, Emma, was the one who helped me see the situation clearly. "Sarah," she said, "anyone who could lie to your face for 6 months while sleeping with your boyfriend was never your friend to begin with. She was just someone who was good at pretending." She was right. When I looked back at our friendship with clear eyes, I could see the signs I'd missed. The way Jenna always seemed a little too interested in my relationship problems, how she'd sometimes make comments about Mark that felt slightly inappropriate, the way she'd insert herself into our plans and then later suggest that maybe Mark and I needed space. Mark tried to contact me a few times after they returned from Miami. He sent long text messages explaining how complicated the situation was, how he'd never meant to hurt me, how he'd been confused about his feelings. I blocked him after the third message. If he'd been that confused, he should have broken up with me before pursuing my best friend. Jenna, surprisingly, never reached out at all. I heard through mutual friends that she and Mark moved in together 2 months after their Miami trip. Good for them. They deserve each other. The hardest part wasn't losing Mark. I realized pretty quickly that if he could do this to me, he wasn't the person I thought he was. The hardest part was losing the friend I thought I had in Jenna and learning to trust my instincts about people again. But here's what I know now. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. And sometimes the worst betrayals come wrapped in concern and friendship, making them harder to see coming. I'm dating someone new now, someone who thinks the idea of lying to your partner is incomprehensible, someone who earned my trust gradually and treats it like the precious thing it is. Some people aren't meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are just there to teach you what you won't tolerate. Did you like this content? Then subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos, leave a like, and share with anyone who needs to reflect on these family challenges. Together, we can transform our relationships.